I could not be more hyped about Mario Kart World. It's releasing right around the corner and I cannot wait for this true next evolution of the Mario Kart franchise. This game looks to be changing up so much stuff and adding so many new features and ideas to the series that it genuinely could very well be the best Mario Kart game ever. I mean, they talked about in a developer interview how they've been working on this game for 8 years now. There is going to be so much in this title and we've barely scratched the surface of what Mario Kart World has in store. However, considering it's a launch title for the Switch 2 and Nintendo is not sending out any review units of Switch 2s, no one's gonna be able to review this game right when it drops. Everyone will be playing it for the first time on June 5th, which makes this video so interesting because today I'm going to be going over the 5 main reasons Mario Kart World could be the best Mario Kart game by far. These are the 5 big things that I'm personally gonna be looking out for when I first boot up this game, because if Nintendo is able to nail these 5 reasons with Mario Kart World, in my opinion, it could be one of the greatest games they have ever developed. Comment down below what you think might make Mario Kart World a masterpiece, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. The first reason Mario Kart World could be a masterpiece is the sheer amount of content. Now, when talking about the content of this game, there's a lot of different categories we can talk about, but I specifically want to talk about the normal game and free roam as 2 separate categories for this first point. As for the normal game, yes, there are technically quite a few less tracks than even Mario Kart 8 Deluxe without the Booster Course Pass. However, there are so many different ways we can race on those tracks that it shouldn't really matter. In Versus mode, you can pick between a plethora of options, allowing you to either race standard Mario Kart style 3 laps on the same track, or you can choose which track you want to drive between, which obviously results in an entirely different racing experience, as you'll be racing along different paths throughout the world to get to the specific track that you selected. Not only that, but a recent Japanese commercial for Mario Kart World confirmed something huge. This game seems to have a reverse option that will likely replace mirror mode as an entire new choice for players to select when picking a CC. You can see here on Mario Bros circuit, specifically when driving up to this big looping turn, the racer is coming in from the opposite side compared to, well, every other time we've seen this track. Not only that, but the signs on the track are also changed to reflect this new reverse direction. This is likely replacing mirror mode, which makes sense. Not only is it a lot more interesting as it actually changes the core layout of the tracks rather than just reversing your screen, but it makes more sense considering in World you would have to mirror, well, the whole world. Mario Kart Tour had reverse variants of its tracks, and this new reverse mode is just another way for Nintendo to squeeze more content out of a smaller track selection than we've gotten in the past. However, now let's talk about free roam, and just how much content is available in that mode, because this is where, if Mario Kart World nails it, it could easily be the best game in the series. It is very clear Nintendo is heavily promoting free roam. They are marketing this as if it's an integral part to the game experience. You hang out in free roam when waiting for an online race. You can boot up to free roam just from the title screen itself. It like seamlessly puts you in there, which is super sick, by the way. And also, it's the game's entire namesake. You get to free roam around that big world of Mario Kart World. They're extremely confident in free roam, but there doesn't seem to be any story mode there. The costumes, which could have been great unlockables you purchase from a shop in free roam, aren't bought, but rather given to you by a Yoshi's item, which is really just a mushroom and a palette swap. So what is there to actually do when you're in free roam? Well, the P-switches. They showed off some of these in the Direct, but on the Nintendo Today app, they've been showing off a lot more, and some of these look really, really cool. I'm a particularly big fan of Shy Guy dropping in and racing against the other Shy Guy snowboarders on DK Pass. I think that's super neat. But what has me most excited about some of these P-switch missions is that it looks like for some of them, the time limit is pretty strict. Not all of them seem super difficult, but a couple of them, like specifically this cow one, seem to have pretty strict limits that'll obviously give players something to work for when playing in free roam. However, is that seriously it? The P-switches look pretty neat, but how many of them are there and how creative is Nintendo willing to get with these? How many of them are just going to be copy-paste drive through these rings compared to some more unique and area-specific missions like we're seeing here with the cows on Moo Moo Meadows? On June 5th, when you're playing this game, look out for other things to do within free roam. Maybe you can go up and interact with NPCs like Nabbit, or maybe the peach coins and question mark panels actually do something interesting and create new gameplay opportunities. With stuff like choosing different courses to drive between in versus mode, and the likely introduction of a reverse CC class, it's very clear Nintendo is squeezing the most content they can out of the normal main mode. If they're doing the same for free roam, this game could be legendary. The next reason Mario Kart World could be amazing is its mechanics. Let me explain. Every Mario Kart game will receive new mechanics, but no game's new mechanics have looked to work so well with each other like Mario Kart World. The new features Nintendo has cooked up for this game look so dope and synergistic, meaning they all work together to create emergent gameplay opportunities that are perfect for Mario Kart. Here's an example. Let's start by looking at wall riding and the new grind rails. Both of those features open up new paths for unique skill expression, but are able to create more new paths in unique and interesting ways we haven't seen before in Mario Kart. This is particularly important for this game specifically because we now have double the amount of racers in each lobby. So in order to prevent it from being a complete crapshoot, Nintendo has wisely added in new mechanics solely designed to separate players by presenting countless new alternate paths, be it rail grinding on a telephone wire or straight up deciding you want to drive on a wall now. But oh, what's that? You can drive on walls to get up to higher, more unique paths? Well, to pair with that increased verticality, we now have a charge jump. Not to mention the feather is now no longer battle mode exclusive. See what I mean here? These mechanics look to all work together, which is super exciting, but please Nintendo, for the love of God, let these all be heavily incorporated into the game. Make these new mechanics useful and worthwhile things to do rather than just random gimmicks that actually slow you down or aren't super useful. Stuff like the charge jump looks great for getting up onto walls and avoiding certain items, but I'm a little bit more worried about things like rail riding, which might not be useful at all unless they happen to be like the rail that's taking the most optimal line, in which case everyone's gonna use it. I hope all these new mechanics have their own situations in which they are useful. That way they're dynamically used to spice up gameplay rather than it just being like, oh yeah, no one uses wall riding in this track because every time you can wall ride in this track it takes you way longer. That's not nearly as fun. The third reason this game could be incredible is the character and vehicle roster. This one's pretty straightforward. From everything we've seen here, it looks pretty sick. Yes, I have a lot of characters that I would like to see in this game. Most of those probably aren't gonna be in this game, and I'd rather have interesting characters, or interesting in my opinion characters, such as Kgan, Toadsworth. Those guys would be a lot cooler than like, I don't know, Dolphin, or the Swooper Bat. Regardless though, just the fact that there are so many options from the characters here is incredibly exciting, and the same point stands for costumes. I just made a video talking about a bunch of costumes I'd like to see in this game, and while in my opinion the costumes I mentioned in that video are a lot cooler than pretty much all the costumes we've seen already, the fact that there are so many costumes here and in this game is just great from a variety perspective, even if in my opinion they could be better. That's why for the new characters, costumes, and vehicles, I'm really hoping to see more unlockables in this game. I'm sure a lot of different stuff is going to have to be unlocked, but I hope, like for example, there are multiple interesting ways to unlock different vehicles, and the coolest vehicles we haven't seen yet are kind of the hardest final ones to unlock. Nintendo's been working on this game for 8 years, and we're going to be playing it for many years after its release. So I hope they're not shy about going overboard and adding in as many characters, costumes, and vehicles as they want, just so everyone has interesting rewards as they keep playing through the game. The next way this game could be incredible is the online potential. I specifically say potential because there is so much potential here, but this is the point in this video I'm most concerned might actually not come true. If Nintendo nails everything else about this game, but messes up the online, in my opinion, that's gonna be so frustrating because they could add all the content in they want, but if we can't play the game with friends online the way we want to, it's all kind of a moot point now, especially for people who mainly play online. Nintendo Switch Online itself is clearly a big focus with Switch 2, but we really have not seen how it works in this game at all. Please let stuff like tournaments come back with improvements. The tournament system in Mario Kart 8 had its flaws, but at the end of the day, it did what it needed to do pretty well. I'm really hoping something like that returns, because if the only way to play online with your friends is just hopping into a collaborative free roam and then starting a race from there, rather than using the whole in-depth tournament system from Mario Kart 8, I'd be pretty disappointed. Additionally, there's a lot of potential even beyond what Mario Kart 8 has already done. Stuff like like Splatfests or different time trial events where maybe for a certain week, there's a specific leaderboard for time trialing one track. There's so much free engagement waiting for Nintendo if they nail the online with interesting events that happen periodically, and especially just letting us set up tournaments and whatnot. And considering how big of a push Nintendo is making for Nintendo Switch Online in the Switch 2 era, I would be shocked and quite disappointed if they didn't nail this. Yeah, it's online and Nintendo has never been the best with online, but Mario Kart's Online has been some of the best Nintendo's ever done, and Mario Kart World, which again is a game they've spent 8 years working on, this is not the game for lackluster online implementation. You really gotta add some interesting stuff here, specifically tournaments. I really hope those are returning. Okay, the final reason Mario Kart World can, and in this specific reason will be a masterpiece, is the music. The reason I say it will be a masterpiece is because it's Mario Kart music. It's guaranteed to be banging, and from everything we've heard, this game might have one of the best soundtracks of all time. Apparently, there's over 200 songs in this soundtrack, which is not only obviously songs for all the new tracks of this game, but remastered songs for tracks that didn't even appear in this game, plus non-Mario Kart songs in general incorporated from other aspects of the Mario franchise, but now remade in a Mario Kart musical style. All this stuff is absolutely insane and is all but guaranteed to give this game one of, if not the best Nintendo soundtracks of all time. However, beyond the specific songs themselves, because again, those will be banging, there are some things they can add that would really take the musical aspect of Mario Kart World to the next level and help it secure its place as a masterpiece in gaming. The first thing I want to talk about is a music player. Please, Nintendo, I beg of you. They added one into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the Booster Course Pass, and in there you just pick it from the menu, go into the music selector, pick a track, and listen to the song. It's as simple and straightforward as it needs to be. Super easy for Nintendo to develop because they literally just took the exact same menu layout from picking the tracks, but it's super appreciated just to have all the songs here specifically now because there's going to be over 200 of them. Secondly, what about a GTA radio station system in free roam? If you haven't played Grand Theft Auto, basically in that game, or in a lot of open world games, but GTA kind of popularized it, when you're in a car, you can pick from a different radio station. Now in GTA, different radio stations will even have their own little interludes where you can hear the DJs of said radio station talking. Obviously, I don't expect that here. I more so just want the ability to quickly put on different playlists for when you're driving around in free roam. Maybe there's a radio station that has a bunch of remade songs from Mario Kart Wii, or maybe there's a radio station of all the like Bowser themed songs. So you can put that on in free roam if you're like practicing time trialing Bowser's Castle or something. Nintendo wants us to spend a lot of time just driving around the world. Again, they were emphasizing free roam very heavily in this game. If they're gonna give us such an incredible soundtrack, it would be nice if they'd give us a little bit of customization in how we hear said soundtrack, especially because it's so massive. With over 200 songs, if you just want to listen to a couple specific songs, you're probably not gonna randomly get those. So yeah, that's how Mario Kart World's music in particular could help once again make it the best Mario Kart game ever. Hopefully you guys are as excited for Mario Kart World as I am. If you are, hit the subscribe button because the game is releasing so soon and we have so many videos planned for when it releases. But I got you with something for right now. Click the video on screen to see all the costumes I want to see added into this game. There were some really interesting ones in there, so go check it out.